Hello my friends, hello my besties, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Alexis and today we're going to be doing my reading wrap up for March and April. Also, happy May. This is one of my favorite months of the year, so I am so excited to be kicking it off with a reading wrap up. We have a lot of books to get into and I'm very excited. What are y'all drinking today? It is 2 p.m. and I'm having my first cup of coffee because I overslept and I did not wake up until noon. Without further ado, let's get into the books I've read over the past 2 months. The very first book that I read in March was Flawless by Elsie Silver, which is also the first book that firmly put me into my Yeehaw era. We will be seeing quite a few cowboy romances on this list because, oh my goodness, this book got me so hooked so quickly. If you don't know, this is the first book in Elsie Silver's Chestnut Springs series, which is 5 interconnected standalones all set in the fictional town of Chestnut Springs. And yes, they are all like cowboy yeehaw type romances. They're not all, I think there's a few where like a hockey player and stuff, but it's all in the same town, like around the same ranch, the same set of found family characters. I ended up giving this 4 stars. It's not like the best romance book I ever read, but oh my gosh, I went through it so quickly despite it being like a chunkier, like 400+ page book. I devoured this. The writing was quick, the plot was fun, and I just really enjoyed it, especially our female main character. Honestly, I did not have the hots for the male main character. I'm sorry. But I loved the female main character. I loved her outlook on life. I loved her perspective, and I just really enjoyed their romance together. It was such a quick and fun read, and I'm genuinely just like really excited to keep reading this series because if any of the books are as good or better than this one, I just know I'm gonna love them. I already have the second book on my shelves, and I'm really looking forward to reading that like in the next couple months because if I, again, like any of them as much as I like this one, I'm gonna have a great time with this series, and this was great. 4 stars, I would definitely recommend. Next book I don't own a copy of, and I did not really like it, and that is Spiral. I'm sorry. I really did not like this author's debut book, Collide, but I really wanted to give her a second chance because everyone seems to love her books so much, and I was absolutely determined to give her a second chance with Spiral, and I ended up DNFing it around 75%, I think. But I did give it 2 stars because there were some aspects I liked. I did really like the romance that was budding between the main 2 characters for a majority of the book, and I didn't hate the plot. It is a hockey player times professional ballerina plot. I really liked the way that the main characters work together. However, there were so many micro things that didn't quite add up that irritated me that I couldn't let go of, which was almost exactly my problem with her first book too. It was like no one had done a polished edit over the specific details of certain aspects of their lives. So then when you look back on it, it feels like there's like plot holes or indiscrepancies that really grated on me, and that 75% something happened that just I was done. But I will give examples, I promise. I'm here with receipts. I'm here with my Goodreads review. These are probably like mildly spoilery, but they're not crazy spoilery. So if you don't want to know the specifics of what these indiscrepancies are and why they irritated me, then you're gonna want to skip. I'm gonna put a little teddy bear, like a little teddy bear emoji in this corner. And when that teddy bear emoji is gone, that means I'm not going to be like reading through the specific indiscrepancies that irritated me. So if you want to read this book and you just don't want to know details, skip past the teddy bear. But if you don't care or you've already read it, then we'll keep talking. First of all was the perspective of the male main character. We're told very early on that he is known to be a playboy in the media, but the only evidence of this ever is that he was photographed one singular time with one singular woman. And she worked for the hockey team anyways, which should have been somewhat of public knowledge. They could have figured that out, but we're told that he is a playboy in the media. The media thinks of him as this you know, playboy. He's crazy. He's with all these different women, but there's no proof of that in the story. We're not ever shown proof of that. But then later, told that the media thinks of him as being a sweet guy with a heart of gold. So like, which one was it? It was not very clear. Like, is he this public playboy millionaire nepo baby, or is he like a sweetheart with a heart of gold? We're told very conflicting things about his PR image, and it's not explained. His also entire subplot made no sense to me. The idea was that he was a rookie in his first NHL season, but he was struggling to like score goals. He was doing lots of assists and he was doing well on the team, but he wasn't getting any of his own goals. And they were threatening to like kick him out. They were like, if you don't get any goals, we're kicking you out. And I don't know that much about hockey. I really don't, but I do watch it somewhat. And first of all, you're starting a rookie. I just feel like that was a little like surprising. And then also, I don't think not scoring is a true reason to remove a rookie from the team. It's his first season, and he's written on page to be doing assist after assist after assist and playing well and being a good member of the team. So like that does not make sense. It does not literally hold any weight that not scoring actual goals will be the reason he get kicked off the team. It did not make sense. At one point, Miss Girl, our main character, mentions that her stove is broken, but she won't call it to get fixed because her apartment complex will make her pay for it, which is not how that works. But then she literally burns her apartment down to like ash, but doesn't really have any consequences for it. She earlier in the book mentions not having insurance, but then later mentions that she has renter's insurance. Like, she's talking about the fire and is like, I don't have insurance. And then later is like, well, I have renter's insurance. So that was just like, huh? Like, so your apartment complex is fine fixing your apartment that burned down to ash because of you and it was your fault, but they would make you pay for the stove that you didn't break. It was just broken. Did not make sense to me. And things like that really irritated me because those were such big subplots of their romance, was her apartment and his hockey career. So it just annoyed me. And then also 75% in, we found out he had a piercing down there, which always gives me an ick. It's not something I enjoy in romance books at all. So when I got 80% in, that's when I wrote 80% in, and that had happened on top of all the other little indiscrepancies, I was so annoyed that I was just like, I'm done. That was it. Book closed, and I honestly don't know if I'm ever gonna give this author another try. I'm sorry, I wanted to like this so badly, but I was so irritated. Okay, Teddy Bear is gone, and we're on to the next book, which I also do not have a copy of, and that is The Favorites. This was a ride. I listened to this on audio, and I ended up giving it 4 stars because, oh my goodness, this book was messy, and I ate it up. It is definitely not a romance. It's much more dramatic fiction, but I still really think it was worth the read. It is told in past and present timeline. It jumps around a lot in the timeline of the story. Oh, it's juicy. It follows our main character, Catalina, who is an ice dancer, and essentially her entire career, starting as an ice dancer all the way to kind of like her ending, not of life, but like her plot ending. And there's so many different side characters, and it's just very dramatic, and you're not gonna like any of these characters, right? Like, none of these characters are good people. You're not going to really enjoy a single one of them, but you're gonna eat it up because it's dramatic, and they're just doing like the most bonkers things you've ever heard of. I can't tell you the amount of times that I was listening to this, like at work, like cleaning someone's like sink or whatever, and I'm just like, like just gasping and baffled by what was going on in this book. It was gripping, fast-paced, interesting. The plot was fantastic. The characters were all very messy and morally gray, and I really liked it. I would definitely recommend it, and I do plan on getting a physical copy because this is one that I know I'm gonna want on my shelves because I know I'm gonna be recommending it for a long time to come. Like, it was addicting. I really liked it. Next book I finished in March was Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, which I ended up giving 3 stars. I'm a little conflicted on it. On one hand, I did really enjoy the first half of the book, but I felt like towards the second half, it lost a bit of momentum, and I was starting to get a little bored of it. I wasn't as engaged. The characters were very interesting, but I don't think they clicked for me very well. It was definitely more of like a me thing, not the book thing. I also kind of goofed up because I did not finish this before my monthly book club, and then went to monthly book club and had a lot of the endings spoiled for me, which was entirely my fault. And don't get me wrong, glad I went to book club. I love going to book club even when I don't finish the books because it's just like a fun little time, but it definitely did change my perspective a little bit on the ending. And then also, I know a big point of contention with this book is the whole like kink aspect of it, and there were definitely things I did not know before reading this book where I had to Google them. But on the other hand, I was like, this was not like bonkers. I tend to read much more like vanilla romances, so for me this was like a bit more than what I'm used to reading. Like, it was a little bit like more out there within like BDSM and stuff, but it also wasn't like this bonkers book. It hit the middle for me. I don't know. I saw a lot of people being like, this is not wild in the BDSM, and I was like, as someone who reads a lot of vanilla romance, it is kinda, but at the same time, it wasn't what I was expecting. I thought it would be even wilder, if that makes sense. After Defend, I promptly listened to the first 3 books in the Rebel Blue Branch series by Lila Sage, and I love these to pieces, so let's go through them individually. First is Done and Dusted. I think I gave this 4 stars. This is an enemies to lovers small town romance set on a ranch, Rebel Blue Ranch, and oh my goodness, this series has my heart. It is the most cozy, comforting, small town series, and it really made me feel like I was part of their family in the most lovely way. Listening to these books just brought so much warmth and joy and happiness to my heart. I truly felt like I was part of this found family in the best possible way. Also a bit of like a brother's best friend romance. He owns a small town bar. She also, I love this, she has ADHD. Her name's Clementine. And it was one of the first times I really felt so represented. That's not a word. So represented, there we go, in a book with some of her specific quirks with how her sensory processing is. She is one of the first characters I've seen who like has very similar quirks within her ADHD and same sensory issues as I do. And that really meant a lot to see on page, and I adored them. The romance was really sweet. It was very tender. 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. And then we move into the second book, which was Swift and Saddled. This one follows the next sibling in the family, brother. I think this is Gus. No, this is not Gus. What am I saying? This is Weston. And then this is Ada. Loved this. Essentially, she comes in to work on a project on Rebel Blue Ranch as like an interior designer and constructor, and then he's the one's hiring her, so it's like kind of a little forbidden because they're working together, so they don't want to date, but it's adorable. I love her character so much, and I was really glad when they brought her in. She is such a light, a creative, beautiful light in the series, and this book was so cute. There are moments from this book, specifically this one, that live rent free in my mind that I can so vividly picture when I think about this book, because they just like had me kicking my feet and screaming and throwing up a little bit, and it was fantastic. I really enjoyed this one. I think I also gave it 4 stars. And then the third book, which I also obviously read, was Lost in Lasso, which I gave 5 stars. This is my favorite of the series so far. I have not yet read the new 4th book that just came out, but this one, I was looking forward to this one since the very first book. This one is Gus and Teddy. Gus is another sibling from the main 4, and then Teddy is the female main character of the first book's best friend. This is a single dad and she's the nanny, forced proximity, obviously still small town type romance, also enemies to lovers. I adored them together. They both had the same spark and passion and love, and watching them slowly realize that they aren't that different after all and then fall in love just like had my heart. This book is so tender too. There's so many moments that I can't specifically get into without spoiling it, because spoiling it without spoiling it. But it really did have my heart, and it really grabbed me emotionally. This series has meant a lot to me during the time when I read them. I've been going through a lot this year, and this series has really felt like coming home. Like I feel, honestly, I think for the first time, really even, like maybe the first or second time ever, like part of my heart lives at Rebel Blue Ranch. And I don't think I've ever had such a strong connection to a found family or a fictional location before until these books, but they really do warm my heart in the best way. I'm really looking forward to reading the 4th book, and I just absolutely know that I will be going back to these books to reread them and just continue to feel that warmth from them, because the writing is truly phenomenal, and I can't recommend them enough. I loved them truly beyond words. I also was so beyond lucky to go to an author signing recently, so they are all actually signed by Miss Lila Sage, and that just makes it like even more special to me. Then the very last book that I read in March, I don't have a physical copy of. I read it on my Kindle, and that is Gloves Off by Stephanie Archer. Shut up. Actually, just shut up. I loved this book with my whole heart. Context. Okay, I got an arc of this early on my Kindle from Dell, so thank you so much, Dell. This is like my favorite hockey series of all time. This series, the Vancouver Storm series by Stephanie Archer, I love. I really enjoyed the first 2 books. The 3rd book, like an all-time favorite romance book. 4th book, all-time favorite romance book. Right around the time I got an arc on my Kindle for this, I was getting sick for like the 10th time this year, and I had just gotten my first Kindle stand, like the like bendy ones that you like hook onto your bed and then you have the page clickers. I spent, I think, 6 hours laying in my bed reading on my Kindle like that when I started this book, because I was so addicted. I got to like 75% in and was like, whoa, wait, they're like doing stuff. Like wait, oh my gosh, I'm 75% in. Like I was so hooked and addicted to the story, I didn't even realize how quickly I was flying through it. And I gave it 5 stars. I don't know if I said that. I gave it 5 stars. I loved it! It is an enemies to lovers, marriage of convenience, hockey romance, and there was like teasers about it in the 3rd book of the series, so then I was already kind of excited for it, and it was everything I wanted to and more. It took a little bit of build up for them. It was almost like a slow burn enemies to lovers, but watching them overcome their dislike of each other and their misconceptions about each other and then fall in love with each other, just my heart. Their banter was so top tier, and I felt like they were both such fiery, amazing characters, and watching them fall in love just truly made me so happy. There were so many things about this book I loved. Vampire Diaries, as mentioned a ton. She has like the most insane shoe collection you could ever imagine. Just the comforting, there's just so many things I feel like I genuinely could talk about this book forever, because I love so many things about it, and I can't wait for it to come out so more people can read it so we can like actually chat about the specifics of it, because I don't want to spoil anything for you or like get too into the nitty-gritty about it, but I loved it. If you want like a taste of this book, I made a really cute Pinterest board for it. I will try to link it down below. I'm super into making Pinterest boards for my books, and this book was so Pinterestable, and like every time something was happening, I was like running to my phone and being like, oh my gosh, like red pair of heels, bunnies, like anything I could think of, because I was loving it so much. I loved it so much. 6 stars. Emotionally, I'm giving it 6 stars. I don't remember when it comes out, but I will put it on the screen. But my point being, I cannot recommend it enough. I love this series so much. Please read it. And no, you don't need to read the first 3 books to know what this book is about or to enjoy this book. There are character cameos from the first 3 books, but it's nothing crazy. Like you can definitely read this without reading the first 3 if you really want to, but I would recommend going back and reading the first 3 first. Now we're moving on to the books that I read in April, and we are not starting off strong. We're starting off very sad. That is Promise Me by Carly Jean. I'm really sad about this because the author and I are Instagram mutuals. I've been really excited to read her books for ages now. So when I DNF'd this, it kind of broke my heart. I also got this as a gift for Christmas, so I was like so excited to read it because like friendly with the author. My mom bought me this book and then I really didn't like it. I'm sorry. I need to pull up my stuff. I remember that as I was reading it, I was religiously updating my Goodreads notes, and that's what I'm gonna read from to explain my thoughts and feelings and opinions. Also, as we're sitting here, my cat is on the bed being super cute, and I just want to go give her scritches, but I'm trying to lock in. Oh yes, okay, here's my updates. Oh, okay, I need to tell you what's about first. I'm so sorry. This is the first interactive standalone in a series by Carly Jean. They're all based around the same fictional college, I believe. This book is pitched as essentially like experienced girl times virgin male main character. He is tutoring her and she is a volleyball star, so it's a bit of a sports romance too. They are both in college. Sounds so up my alley, which is why I was so excited for it, but unfortunately, it did not. So I'm gonna read you my updates on Goodreads because I know that these explain how I feel better than I could now. On page 12, I wrote, "The writing is already so info dumpy, I am scared." Which was super true. The characters were telling us so much about their lives immediately off the back while they were just like existing that it was kind of a lot. I was like, I know everything about you and I'm 10 pages in, my guy. Like, I don't need to know all of this right now. On page 55, I wrote, "The amount of telling us through dialogue is driving me nuts. Her best friend sitting down and describing her multitudes and entire personality to the reader instead of showing us these traits and interests." On page 84, I wrote, "So little show, so much tell." Also, when did the main characters, the love interests, become friends? I swear 1 minute they were strangers and now they're saying they're super close. Page 100. They're somehow best friends now and super into each other. I feel gaslit. Page 110. The content warnings let you know that there's mentions of SA but doesn't warn you about the on-page sexual harassment, which irritated me. And I think around page 130 is when I officially stopped reading and started skimming. And after that, I did agree with a lot of what people said online, that for a inexperienced male main character, my guy was essentially not. That was not relevant. He was fine. He didn't, like, that did not contribute to their relationship at all. He pretty much, he boinked like a, someone said this, and I want to rephrase it, but I'm like, I don't want to get like in trouble on YouTube, but he essentially boinked like a P-star. Like someone said that on Goodreads, and that's what I keep thinking of. Like, my guy was not inexperienced. Like, there was no point of making him inexperienced because he was not. So overall, I did not like this, like, at all. I'm very sad about it. I'm very torn about keeping my copy or not because on one hand it is very pretty and it was a gift. On the other hand, I just like really did not like this and I don't think I can see myself picking up the rest of the series like ever. It was so info dumpy. The relationship was so oddly rushed and not fleshed out. The female main character's relationship with the side characters was bizarre. Instead of giving us information in a natural way or showing us things, we were constantly told things about characters through dialogue or through their internal monologue. It just was not, I did not like this. I'm sorry. I really wanted to. After Promise Me, I read Once Smitten, Twice Shy by Chloe Lees, and I really like this. This is the 3rd book in the Wilmot Sisters series. You do not have to read them together to go through them. It's just a series following 3 different sisters and the romances they have, and this was by far my favorite of the series. I was not necessarily expecting it to be, but I loved it. It is a steamy reimagining of Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, and it's just very cute. Our male main character, Will, is very quiet, very sweet, very reserved, and then the female main character, Juliet, is just like a beautiful, hopeless romantic who swears off love after going through some really hard stuff. They kind of keep running into each other. He is her childhood neighbor's best friend, so they have a lot of different connections, and their romance was just lovely and tender and warm. And they have this sort of like dating practice trope going on where she wants to practice flirting and dating again since it's been like a long time since she recently went through a really bad breakup, and he's just never ever really been with anyone, so he doesn't know how to flirt and go on dates and all that sort of stuff. So it was very cute, and obviously they fall in love, and I really like this. It was very tender and warm and I adored it, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. After that was Book Boyfriend by Emily Wibberley and Anastasia Broca, and oh, my feelings are so mixed and I'm sad. So for the first half of the book, I was vibing. As you can see, actually, the difference. I was tabbing, I was enjoying, and then the second half of the book happened. Let's get into it. So this book, the premise is so cool. These two, the main characters, work at the same place and they do not like each other. However, they end up accidentally meeting at this very cool interactive like fantasy convention where a large corporation has went to a college and kind of turned it into like a fantasy world, like a whole fantasy world. There's like paid actors, there's decorations, there's costumes, and they're both here for this like crazy immersive fantasy experience. And they realize that the other person's there, they don't like each other, and it's like, it's just fun. Like it's the premise was very fun. I liked the build up at the beginning. I was really enjoying the concept of how they both got there, like this cool, crazy, fantasy, immersive experience. I was really vibing with some of their earlier interactions. There's also a like mystery element where you can win a date with a fictional character, like the actor who's playing the fictional character that's there. And I was just like, at first I was really liking it. I liked the premise. I thought it was interesting. But then things were just like, there were things in the beginning that kind of like started trickling in. And then by the second half, I was just like, this is such a cool premise and the execution is just not for me. And I didn't really love the male main character. I didn't really get into him. I didn't really understand his appeal. I also felt like there started to be just a lot of random side characters and side plots. I think at one point she might even kiss someone else, which irritated me. If not, she at least got very close. At a certain point, the whole scavenger hunt mystery thing also just started to seem kind of unnecessary. I guess I feel like there could have been a lot of cutting down and a lot of just edits and stuff. Like the concept was really there, but the execution just really was not. And I was not a big fan of it. I ended up giving it 3 stars, which makes me sad because I do really love Emily and Austen. I've loved a lot of their books, but this one unfortunately just was not for me. The next 2 books I read were The Graham Effect and The Dixon Rule, both by Elle Kennedy. These are her newest series, the Campus Diaries series. This is her new series that's following, this one follows the daughter of some of her characters from her very first series. And then this one is one of her best friends. To be totally honest, I did not like any of Elle Kennedy's first series. I read the first 3. I tried to read the 4th. I just could not. I could not. I'm sorry. The way the men speak about the women, even in their own internal dialogue or out loud, is so deeply sexualizing and misogynistic at times. It just gives me an ick, even when it's meant to be teasing or flirting. If any man spoke to me like that in real life, I would be absolutely disgusted. And horrified, honestly. And maybe it's just that I have a personal preference for like cinnamon roll guys, but like I've read plenty of books with confident men or outgoing men who don't act like that and speak like that to women or to other people. And I don't get it. I really didn't get the hype. I'm sorry, but I really wanted to like her book, so I decided to give this series a try and honestly pleasantly surprised. Well, there was definitely still some of those comments and things that I was like, ugh, these men are internalized misogynists to see women as objects. They definitely were a lot more toned down, and there was so much more to enjoy about these books compared to the first series, in my opinion. They're obviously much longer, and I don't think that's a bad thing because they do dive a lot more into heavy topics. Each and every one of them did. This one dives a lot more into trauma for the male main character, which I thought honestly really helped. I felt like I actually understood and connected to the characters in a way that I did not with her first few books, and they were fun. This one I ended up giving 4 stars. It wasn't like an all-time favorite, but there were things I enjoyed about it. There were also things, decisions made by the characters that I just kind of was shocked by, not in a pleasant way, that I don't want to get into because spoilers. I think you'll know. You'll know if you've read this one I'm talking about. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't hateful. It was a good time. It was a fun time. I enjoyed listening to it. And the characters were not so grossly hateful towards women that I like put it down, which is more than I can say for her first series. On the other side of that is the Dixon Rule, which I did end up really liking. I think I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. Incredibly pleasantly surprised. There was definitely still, like I said, some of that internalized misogyny, seeing women as objects in a lot of the men, and things that were said that I was like, this is nasty. But I feel like it was nothing as bad as her first series. And like I said, it's so much longer. There's so much to go into. There's so much more to go into with Diana, the main character in this book's trauma, and with her love interest Sean and everything that they're both going to. And that definitely helped. This one also has some of my favorite tropes, including fake dating, and I really enjoyed the fake dating aspect of this story, and I liked their romance. Honestly, a lot more than I expected to. I will say this one deserves a heavy trigger warning for like an ex-boyfriend stalking, harming, like harassing, that wasn't really like given in the book anywhere that I could find. And I was kind of surprised by how heavy that type of domestic violence was prevalent in the story, since I hadn't seen anyone mention it before. So I just want to put that out there to look up trigger warnings for this one, or at least keep in mind what I'm saying right now. That there are on-page depictions. It's not between the love interests. It's because of an ex-boyfriend, but it's not because of the love interest, I promise. But I was very surprised by how much I enjoyed this. It was a cutie little time, and I did like a lot of the side characters that we were getting in this book. I felt like because of the length being longer, I was actually able to appreciate and understand some of like the teammates in ways that I wasn't in the first series. So those are all the books I actually finished in the months of March and April. April's not actually quite done yet. We have several more days, and I'm currently reading 2 books that I know I'm gonna finish before the month ends. So I'm going to give you my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on them as it stands right now, because I know I'm not going to keep them in the next wrap up, so that way you know I'm reading them. So the first book I'm reading right now is The Charlie Method, which is the 3rd book in the Campus Diary series, and I'm not enjoying this one as much as the first 2. This is my first like multiple partners romance I've ever read, and I'm processing. I kind of like one guy a lot more than the other, and I don't really know how this is gonna go. I can't tell if like she's gonna end up with either of them, or if it's gonna be like just a hookup thing. Like I feel like I don't know how the story's gonna go, and that's kind of throwing me for a loop. And I don't dislike the female main character, but there's definitely a lot of cringy things that she says that I'm just kind of like, ugh, how are you my age or older, girl? Like that's not it. But not bad. I don't think I'm going to end up rating it higher than maybe a 3 to 3.5 star, because it's not bad, but it's definitely not hitting me emotionally or something I'm enjoying nearly as much as the other books. And then the final book I'm reading, which is on my Kindle, is People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. This is her upcoming novel, and oh, I'm really liking it. It's very much small town. It's very emotional. It's very sweet. It's about my 2 characters, Prudence and Miles. The 2 of them connect in this small town where he is visiting to help out his brother open like I think it's like not a winery, like I think a beer place, and she lives there with her mom and her dad, and she wants to kind of learn to live for the first time. She's 25, really not that experienced. He's very experienced, like tattooed sweetie but beady, and it's just been really fun. I'm over halfway into it, and I think this one will end up being probably like a 4-star read. There were a few things with it about like the pacing that threw me off a little bit, but overall I am really enjoying it. I like the setting, I like the characters, and the romance is very sweet. So all in all, those are all the books that I read in March and April of 2025. I have been really enjoying doing these bi-monthly wrap-ups so much more than every individual month. It's so much more fun for me, so I hope that you're enjoying them. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff as I am filming this. We are only a few subscribers away from hitting 1,000, which is crazy and surreal. So if you're not subscribed, help a girl out and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. I hope you're having an amazing day. If you've read any of these books or want to read any of these books, please let me know down below. We can chat about it, or you can message me on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. All those links are down in the description. I appreciate you so much. I hope you're having a fantastic day, a fantastic week, and I will see you again soon. Okay? Bye!